Almost 1 in 4 Americans walking around right now has a credit score of 800 or higher. 22.8% of people as of late 2025 are sitting in that top tier, the exceptional band, 800 to 850. And a huge chunk of them genuinely believe that number means they're doing great financially. I want you to sit with that for a second. If a near perfect score actually measured wealth, then a quarter of this country would be rich. And I think you already know that's not true. So here's the uncomfortable question I'm going to answer today. If that beautiful 3-digit number isn't measuring how much money you have, then what on earth is it actually measuring? Because I promise you, it is not what you've been told. I am Slime Johnson and I look at money the way a mechanic looks at an engine that somebody just told me runs perfectly. I don't argue, I just pop the hood. And the credit score is the single most misunderstood number in personal finance. People treat it like a report card for their entire financial life. They get an 800 something and they feel rich, they feel safe, they feel like they've won. Here's the thing nobody says out loud. A high score and a high net worth are two completely different scoreboards. You can be world class on one and a total disaster on the other at the exact same time. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that number is built from, where it came from, who it was really designed to serve. And then I'm going to redirect you to the scoreboard that actually tells you whether you're getting wealthy. Stick with me because the payoff at the end is the most useful financial reframe I can give you. Part 1. Let's start with where this thing was born because the origin story tells you everything. Back in 1956, two guys, an engineer named Bill Fair and a mathematician named Earl Isaac, met at a research institute in California and started a company. Their whole idea was simple and honestly kind of brilliant. Build a mathematical model that could predict whether a borrower would pay a lender back. Notice the direction that arrow is pointing. From day one, this was a tool built for the lender. It was a risk prediction machine designed to answer one question for the people loaning out money. If I give this person credit, what's the chance they burn me? That's it. That's the whole original purpose. For decades, it lived quietly inside banks as an internal underwriting tool. Then in 1989, the first general purpose nationwide consumer credit score got rolled out to lenders across the country. And here's where it really took off. In 1995, this kind of scoring was used by maybe 30% of lenders. By 1999, just 4 years later, it was over 90%. In half a decade, it went from a niche bank tool to the universal grade that practically every lender in America runs your life through. And somewhere in that explosion, something subtle happened. A number designed to measure your risk to a lender got quietly rebranded in the public mind into a grade for you. Your worth, your financial character. But the engineers never built it to measure your wealth. They built it to measure your behavior as a borrower. Hold on to that distinction because it's the whole game. Part 2. Now let's pop the hood and look at what's actually inside the number because this is where it gets impossible to argue with. That score is built from 5 ingredients and they are weighted. The biggest one at 35% is your payment history. Do you pay your bills on time? The second biggest at 30% is how much of your available credit you're using, what's called your utilization. Then 15% is the length of your credit history, how long you've been borrowing. 10% is new credit, how recently you've opened accounts. And the last 10% is your credit mix, the variety of types of debt you juggle. Add those up. 35, 30, 15, 10, 10. Now I want you to look at that whole list and find the ingredient that measures your income. Go ahead, it's not there. Find the one that measures your net worth, what you own minus what you owe. It's not there either. Find your savings, your investments, the equity in your home. None of it. None of it is in the formula. Every single one of those 5 ingredients measures the same thing from a different angle. How you handle borrowed money. The score has no idea how much money you have. It cannot see your bank account. A billionaire who pays cash for everything and a person living paycheck to paycheck on perfectly managed credit cards can have the exact same score. The number was never designed to know the difference because to a lender, the difference doesn't matter. All they want to know is, will you pay the bill? That's the secret hiding in plain sight. Your high score isn't lying because it's broken. It's lying because you've been reading it as a wealth meter when it's actually a reliable borrower meter. And those are not the same thing. Quick aside before I keep going, figuring out the scoreboard that actually does measure wealth is exactly why I built a free first 100K checklist. Links below if you want it. Now let me show you the twist. Part 3. Here's the mechanism that makes this whole thing click, and it's a distinction lenders live by but consumers almost never hear. In the lending world, there are two separate things they look at. One is risk, will you pay it back? The other is capacity, can you afford it in the first place? Your credit score only speaks to the first one, risk. It says nothing about capacity. Capacity is income and assets, and lenders pull that in completely separately when they decide how much to actually hand you. So the score in isolation is half the picture by design. And this is exactly how you get these scenarios that sound impossible but are completely real. Picture someone with an 820 score and a negative net worth. Totally possible. They pay every bill on time. They manage their cards beautifully. The algorithm adores them and they owe more than they own. The machine is thrilled and they're underwater. Now flip it. Picture someone who's debt free, paid off everything, doesn't borrow anymore. After a while, with no recent borrowing activity, that person can become what's officially called credit invisible or unscorable. They can have no score at all. Read that back. It is possible to be so financially healthy, so debt free, that the system has nothing to grade you on. Millions of debt free Americans have no score, not because they failed, but because they stopped playing the borrowing game the model needs to see. So you've got a person drowning in debt with a near perfect grade, and a person who owns their life outright with no grade at all. If that doesn't prove the number is measuring something other than wealth, nothing will. The score rewards active, well managed borrowing. Sometimes the wealthiest move on the real scoreboard, being debt free, makes you a ghost on the credit one. Part 4. So, what do you actually do with this? Because I'm not here to you to set fire to your credit score and live in the woods. That would be dumb and it wouldn't be honest. Here's the move. First, demote the score in your head from grade of my financial life to what it really is. One tool with one job, getting you cheaper access to borrowed money when you need it. That's it. That's its lane. Second, find the scoreboard that actually tracks wealth and start watching that one instead. That scoreboard is net worth. Everything you own minus everything you owe. One number. And unlike the credit score, this one cannot lie to you because it is just arithmetic about your actual life. Here's a real benchmark to anchor to. The median American family net worth was $192,900 in 2022, according to the Federal Reserve, and that jumped 37% in real terms in just 3 years, the biggest gain in the survey's modern history. That's the number that tells you if you're winning, not the three digits the lender's algorithm spits out. Third, and this is where the two scoreboards finally connect in an honest way, use the credit score as a lever to feed the net worth. A strong score lowers the interest rate on the borrowing you do anyway. Lower rates on a mortgage, on financing an asset, means more of your money stays yours instead of bleeding out as interest. That freed up capital is what you push into things that actually build the net worth number. So the score isn't worthless. It's a tool that, used right, lowers the cost of building real wealth. It is just not the wealth itself. Don't ever confuse the lever for the load it's lifting. Part 5. So here's my honest take, the real opinion. No hedging. The credit score is not a scam and the system isn't secretly rigged against you. I want to be really clear about that because the lazy version of this video ends with they're lying to you. Here's the conspiracy. That's not the truth. The truth is quieter and frankly more useful. The number does exactly what it was engineered to do back in 1956. It predicts accurately whether you'll repay a lender. It's good at its job. The lie isn't in the number. The lie is in the meaning we glued onto it. We took a borrower reliability score and we let it become a stand-in for self-worth and wealth. And nobody corrected the record because honestly, a whole industry is happy for you to obsess over a number that measures how good a customer you are. Here's what I actually believe. Chasing a perfect score as if it is the finish line is one of the most common ways regular people stay busy, feeling financially successful without ever getting wealthy. You can spend a decade optimizing a number that at the end of the day just certifies you as an excellent borrower. Meanwhile, the scoreboard that decides whether you're free, net worth, sits there ignored because nobody made it blink red on an app and send you a notification. Care about the score enough to keep it healthy and you're borrowing cheap. Then get your eyes off it and onto the number that actually decides whether you own your life. That's the whole reframe. That's the unlock. Let me leave you with the one sentence to remember. Your credit score measures how you borrow. Your net worth measures what you own. And only one of those two ever made anybody free. A high score means you're a great customer to a lender. It does not mean you're rich. Now, flip the scoreboard. If you want the exact starting book, I built a free first 100K checklist. It's the step by step for stacking your first 100 grand of real net worth. And it's completely free. Link is in the description. And if you want to actually watch your number move, I built a net worth and first 100K tracker for $19 that does the math for you and shows you the real scoreboard climbing month over month. That link's down there too. But free or paid, do the one thing that matters. Pick the scoreboard that tells the truth and start playing that game today. Because this was never about impressing an algorithm. It's about you building something real that's actually yours. Regular people, real wealth, no gatekeeping.